Welcome back to part two of the greatest hip hop group of all time. And we're talking the Wu-Tang Clan for those who missed part one. We are going to, talk about part 7 through 12, or points that why we think, or how I think that Wu-Tang Clan is the greatest group of all time. So stay tuned and let the debate begin.
Are you ready for some controversy? Yeah. Are you ready for some fun? Yeah. Are you ready for some laughs? Yeah. Let's get unfiltered with Cycle 4081.
Yeah, we're back for part 2. And if you guys missed it, actually go see part 1 or listen to part 1. But we talked about the reasons why the Wu-Tang Clan is the greatest, as my opinion, is the greatest of all time. And I mentioned that they have more individual stars than any group in history. I mentioned that they have the greatest resume. And I mentioned that they created more superstars, not just individual members, but they had a huge bench. They also was the most one of the most anticipated hip hop albums, and RZA is the most influential executive mind in rap. So they may not be tops in all those categories, but what makes them the best, they're 1, 2, or 3 in all of those. So we're going to talk more about that with part 2, and I got P Jizzle here. He's going to join me on this podcast. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Before we start, I need to get this PSA out. I really do. Now, obviously, I do agree with you that Wu-Tang is the greatest all-time group, and I know other people can argue and debate, but let's be clear about this. Let's stop putting in non-contenders. I don't want to hear about leaders of the new school. I don't want to hear about no JJ Fad. I don't want to hear about 8-Ball, MJG, UGK. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about, if you got an argument, there's 4 strong contenders. If you have an argument, Wu-Tang, Run-D.M.C, NWA, and OutKast.
Okay.
Everyone else, if you can say the Tribe.
The honorable mentions.
That's honorable mention, but those 4 right there have strong arguments. I don't want to hear your localized rap.
So
group.
wait a minute.
I don't want to hear that.
No, OutKast can't.
No Fat Boys.
OutKast can't be a part of that, because in the last episode we said they had to have at least 3 rappers, or 2 rappers with a prominent DJ.
Okay, right. So with that being said, they're a great duo, so they're out. So now you only have 3 real contenders. You have Wu-Tang, Run-D.M.C, and NWA, which now makes the argument even more clear.
That's true. So before we get into that, let's since we're talking about those who can and cannot be in there, let's come up with some honorable mentions. And you mentioned Tribe Called Quest, but we discounted them because there's only 2 of them that are rapping, right? And we also mentioned the Fugees, but the Fugees, they had 2 good albums, right? And then they had individual success, so they could be mentioned in that aspect, but they didn't have these the powerful solo ventures like the Wu-Tang Clan and NWA and
the longevity,
right? Which is unfortunate. Unless you include Lauryn Hill, she had a couple. Did she ever get past 2 albums or 1 album?
No, she got one album. She became Casper the Friendly Ghost.
She did. That's right.
Never to be heard from again.
I think she had some mental issues,
but that's a different story.
Right.
That's why I say people argue with me. She's overrated, but that's a different argument.
Speaking of her, since you brought her up, Lauryn Hill, people like her because of her R&B mostly, right? And I thought about it. I said she is a way better rapper than most of the females, if not all the females that's out there.
Yes.
Which what to
Yes.
me was an injustice because her album was more or less an R&B album. She could have had a full hip hop album because she embodied it.
Absolutely.
Tragedy.
Absolutely. That's one of the greatest hip hop travesties of all time. That number one, that Lauryn Hill did not make a full hip hop album,
Right.
and number two, after that first neo soul album that won all those Grammys, she basically fell off the map
And became
was gone.
a super mother. she had
Super
kids.
mother.
Yeah. But let's
She had
talk about the honorable mentions, right? Let's throw some over there. Honorable mentions. We're not saying they're in that top three because all right. So we both going to agree NWA, Wu-Tang, and Run-D.M.C. Right? Are we? That's
yes.
Okay. So
yes.
honorable mentions. I'm going to say Stetsasonic is an honorable mention because they had 5 dudes in that group, or 4 actually. They had 4 dudes in the group that rapped, and they had one of the best producers in hip hop, one of the best producers in hip hop of all time. But when you think of Stetsasonic, really everybody's looking at Daddy-O, the main one. So,
Daddy-O, yeah.
And I don't think any of them had any solo projects outside of collaborations. And one of them, Prince Paul and Fruquan, went to the Gravediggers, which again I'm gonna toss that in there. That's one of my favorite groups. They only had one album, but whatever. I'm gonna put Dougie Fresh. Well, I'm gonna say why he's an honorable mention. Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. They had him and Slick Rick, Barry B, Chill Will.
Barry B.
However, longevity. Slick Rick split, so that takes them out of the picture because you only had with one rapper. And then,
okay, so honorable mention.
Yeah, they are honorable mention.
You can add the Locks.
The Locks, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say they're in big time in the conversation because they did have 3 rappers, and I think all 3 of them were great. To be honest, I thought all 3 were great, but I don't know how many.
You can add,
what's their catalog though?
Well, all 3 of them had a solo projects, but Chic was more or less mixtape project, or what they call mixtape projects, but all of them were lyricists.
Mm-hmm.
Then also you can throw Naughty by Nature in there as a honorable mention.
Okay, I'll buy that. KG was there,
and EPMD, Eric Parrish, and DJ Scratch.
Right. Or who was there? Who was that first DJ? You remember? Kayla Boss.
Who was the Kayla Boss?
Right.
Yeah, Kayla Boss. Kayla Boss.
Well, you know what?
And then
let me add this into the group only because we talked about it. And would you consider Terminator X a impactful DJ?
Oh yes.
Okay, so then Public Enemy has to be in that conversation because they have longevity, and they got the hits to back up.
Okay.
No solo projects I don't recall, but I had to add Flavor Flav in there only because he did have a couple cuts in there that was he contributed.
Flav had a solo project.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so it didn't go nowhere.
And Terminator X had
he did. That's right.
Terminator X
You're
had
right.
a solo project.
He did. That's right.
Valley of the Jeep Beats. I brought that.
That's right. That was back in the 90s, right? So
yes. And then you also can put Amigos.
I'm gonna put Public Enemy in that conversation, not this honorable mention side of the conversation for a number of reasons. But you said now I can't say anything about the Migos because I've never listened to anything they ever put out ever.
Now I will tell you this: I went to California. I went to L.A. I went to L.A. I was in the what's this? Was the Staples Center or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Migos. I was surprised. I was surprised how many songs they had, and I was like, "Whoa! They made this, they made
Okay.
that, they made that." They had songs after songs after songs, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa!" All of them had three. They all had individual projects, and each one had commercial success on their projects.
Okay. So let's add them in that talk because they had three, right? Um,
Yes.
Let me tell you, my first introduction to the Migos was they was in Baltimore, and they were coming to a mall for a promotional thing, and people was telling me, "Oh, the Migos supposed to be here, the Migos," and I was working in the mall. I'm like, I don't know no damn Migos. I don't care about no Migos. But while I was working in the mall, I had the opportunity like to, I guess I didn't say directly meet them because I was looking at them, as who are these dudes? I thought they were just some local dudes. And then also it was Drew Hill with Jazz and all of them.
Okay.
And what's the guy? Trey Songz, right? So I had the
All
opportunity
right.
to, work with them, so to speak. And but yeah, but the Migos, I thought I thought they were a local group, and I was like looking at the how popular they was. But whatever.
Right.
One day out. Oh, let me tell you this too, which kind of dropped the significance a little for me when Chris Brown, the singing nigga, did that diss. I said, "Oh my God!" And to be honest, let me throw this in there since we talk about the Migos. That was probably one of the best diss records in recent times when he put that out, and he wasn't even a rapper. He wasn't even a rapper. I was like,
Exactly.
"Oh my goodness." Breezy did it.
Exactly.
But all right, so we'll
Exactly.
throw Migos in there and Public Enemy, and let's see. I know you wanted to put no, we discounted Digital Underground. Um I don't think it's too many. Oh, Bone Thugs and Harmony. People will say they would be number one. A lot of people will say that. I don't get it. I know they had some
Bones
song.
Thugs and Harmony #1.
Oh, you should see that when we talk about that on social media. There's a lot of people will swear to put that they should be number one. I'm like,
Oh my
eh,
goodness.
yeah,
Wow.
they were decent, but I don't think they had anywhere near the impact. And they said, well, even that style. Well, that style is not theirs. It was people before them that had that style, But that's neither here nor there. But let's throw them in
Yeah.
there anyway, because whatever. Then you said you didn't like the Ghetto Boys, but they had three rappers.
Nah,
They had three
they
rappers,
they did.
and they were successful. They had longevity
They
as well.
they were successful.
So I think
Yes.
they get in the conversation just from that. Now, while we're down there, let's discount. Was it UGK, Hot Boys? That was a
The hot
collective.
the
Who
hot
else?
boys, yeah.
Trying to think who else down there. Oh, wait a minute. How could we forget? Two
I
Live
know you're
Crew.
gonna say.
Two Live Crew.
I knew you were gonna say.
How do you forget two? Now, let me go with Two Live Crew.
Yeah, I know I know you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
Pioneers, impactful. They changed the industry, right? With that whole explicit lyric thing, right? So they went through. They were a very impactful group back then. I used to argue about them. I was like, they ain't nothing, they ain't nothing, la la la. But you know what? We could still today we can yell out a few of their songs, right?
Listen, when I was in college, down there, South Carolina, when the Luke song came on, it was all out. It was all out strip naked sessions on the floor. Crazy.
So definitely impactful, right?
Impact.
Impactful, longevity. I'm not saying they're lyrically they were some Rakim or Cool G Rap or LL Big Daddy Kane, none of that, whatever. But they definitely made their mark as far as a group goes. So I'm a throw them in there. So
I'm gonna say something else. I'm gonna say another group that I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna put. I'm not gonna say, oh, they won the top group of all times. But I will say this: for their period, they had three members, two MCs, and one DJ, and they
Salt and
had
Pepper.
success. And Houdini.
Houdini, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's throw Houdini in there. We gotta mention Salt and Pepper because they had probably, as far as longevity goes, for a group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're actually up
They're
there.
they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a reason.
Yeah.
And Beastie Boys. You got to put the Beastie Boys in there.
Yes. Now I'm gonna tell you why the Beastie Boys is eliminated as far as the contention. Not because they didn't qualify for the group and everything, because they had four of them.
Yes.
All right. So, but the Beastie Boys, they had License to Ill, and then they really didn't have longevity when it comes to actually hip hop records. They went and did the rock and roll or whatever they called it, music, and it's still good, but it wasn't hip hop. So they didn't stay hip hop long enough to qualify for that circle of honor, basically.
Right.
So, yeah, but definitely License to Ill puts them definitely in, just that one album puts them in the conversation.
Yeah.
Anybody else? You said Fat Boys, no longevity.
No, you can't put the Fat Boys in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I said, the Fat Boys was a great novel act.
Yeah, you know what? They didn't qualify anyway because two of them rapped and they didn't have a prominent DJ. So, I'm not counting a beatbox dude. Buffy. that don't count. But all right, so yeah, some great groups out there now. But let's get to number 7 of why I'm saying that Wu-Tang Clan is the greatest. RZA is the most important producer in hip hop history, and I'm tell you why. Without RZA, there's no Wu-Tang. Without RZA, there's no signature sound, and we talked about that Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon kung fu theater, that everybody could connect with at that time.
Yeah.
No martial arts aesthetic, no underground movement. So I'm going to say that RZA belongs on the same tier, or if not above, Dr. Dre, DJ Premier, Kanye West. That's what I'm going to say.
I would agree.
Okay.
I would agree.
And so to add to RZA's genius, we talked about him being a producer. Nobody had a sound like that. Nobody. When he busted on the scene, and he still had success producing other acts and other groups, being a member of and his own solo thing. So yeah, he's definitely one of, I'm gonna say not the most, but he's one of the most important producers in hip hop history. And then number 8. Now, there's maybe a little debate on this one too, but Wu-Tang Clan saved New York hip hop. Okay, so I remember when they came on. Funny enough, let me tell you about the Wu-Tang Clan. When they first came on the scene, I saw the cassette first. Never heard them. I saw the cassette first, and I'm like, I was looking at the cassettes, at the music, at the matter of fact, I might have been at the NEX. And I'm looking through stuff. I'm like, Wu-Tang Clan, what kind of shit is this? That's whack. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Till I happened to hear it. And I was like, yo, who's this? That's the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right.
And it got me. So I think, plus it was the video, remember Video Jukebox?
Yes.
So I think it was that too. And I was like, damn, I like this group. It was different. It was nostalgic at the same time. So, it just had a sound of its own. And then again, where else you going to find that many great MCs in one group without having the problems they had? It was genius. Goes back to RZA's genius. So when I'm saying, all right, let me go back. In the early 1900s, the West Coast rap dominated. Obviously, who was dominating? It was NWA. It was Snoop. Snoop killed it from West Coast. You had Short Dog, Too Short, MC Hammer, right?
The Hammer.
What's the other dude from up north? E40. So the West Coast was killing it. Let's say that. Yeah, the West Coast was killing it.
Yeah.
Most historians widely credit Enter the Wu-Tang with helping return New York hip hop to national prominence during a period of West Coast dominance. And that's what the songs "Protect Your Neck" came out. Cream, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to f with. So now the question will come up. You're looking at the '90s. Who was actually bringing back? Oh, West Coast. Let's not forget Tupac out there. So,
Yeah.
who came in the '90s that actually brought New York back to prominence? Now, we still had MCs in New York that was still great. You know, they may not have had the commercial success. But go ahead.
I'm gonna say three names. Three names.
Mm-hmm.
Wu-Tang.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a omit one because it's obvious who what he did. But as far as to bring New York hip hop to New York back to national prominence, was Wu-Tang, was 50 Cent,
Mm-hmm.
and was DMX.
Oh, the dog. I don't know why.
Yeah,
they didn't
DMX.
So,
because
what you now? With that said, now I'm trying to think that.
you can't put Rough Riders.
No,
You
I wouldn't put
Rough
Rough Riders
Riders is
in
not
there.
a group.
But just in hip hop artistry in the '90s, you had DMX, you had Notorious B.I.G., you had Nas.
Of course, yeah, you had Jay-Z. You had Jay-Z. You had Nas.
You had who's the other one we missed? Just with that said, but Wu-Tang Clan obviously. But I think with those guys there when they came out, I think they basically killed it and you know brought them back to prominence. Whether Wu-Tang Clan, as far as a group, definitely Wu-Tang Clan. Everybody else was solo artists, but as far as a group, Wu-Tang Clan had the mold. They created the mold. They broke the mold. That was it. So my question was, did Wu-Tang restore New York's credibility, or does that credit belong more to Notorious B.I.G. or Nas? That's a debate, because
that's a debate. But I will say this. There's interviews on record where they said that B.I.G. and them, B.I.G. and I think somebody else, they said them dudes from Staten Island is coming.
Right.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing when Jay-Z came into the studio to all his roster, the rock, and said 50 Cent coming.
Right.
B.I.G. and them said them boys in Staten Island, they coming.
So man, I'm trying to think. Let's go back to the '90s.
Yeah.
B.I.G. came out first.
Right? Yeah, B.I.G. came out first.
And then it was it Nas?
B.I.G. came out in 93.
93.
I want to say.
Okay, and Wu-Tang Clan came out in 94.
4, yes.
Then let's see, Jay-Z came out in 96.
96.
On his own. 50 came out in, let's see, I remember, let me see, when he became a powerhouse. That might have been 2000. That was 2000. That might have been 2002. But again, you had Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, DMX, right, and the Wu-Tang Clan. Those 5 together basically brought or even the scales when it comes to hip hop. So I'm going to say that.
Yeah, because 50 Cent, his debut album came out in 2003.
Okay.
His debut album. He was bubbling underneath because he was doing different things, and he did this song about robbing robbing how to rob. Yeah, they didn't like that too much. A lot of people didn't like that too much, but that was the buzz. And but Wu-Tang, you got to look at their full in hip impacting hip hop.
Right.
You got all these members who were wordsmiths. They weren't the MC, they was wordsmiths. And they all each had a distinct commercially successful album.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been done.
One thing I'm gonna say about them, this is kind of like goes back to the genius of RZA, right? You compile 8-9 dudes, and I say 8-9 because a couple of them was locked up at the time, they popped in and out. But you compiled 8-9 dudes from Brooklyn, Staten Island, with all different styles, and it flowed.
Yes.
It was no. I mean, that in itself is kind of genius that you can get that many people with different styles and synchronized on a song. That's one thing.
That's crazy.
Then the genius in that was too, if you look at it, you got nine MCs, including himself, right? 9 MCs, and they put out something. They only have to put out one verse each. They all can't fit on the same album, but you can come in there and say, hey, I'm gonna give you my best verse. You don't have to come up with whatever. So with that said, that formula that they put together was just unreal. Let me get 9, I would say back then, 9 dope MCs. Hey, just give me one verse.
And then another thing, do you know how hard it is to manage 9 personalities?
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, could you just imagine the amount of conflict resolution, balancing out whose strength, whose skills are made for this particular album or this particular project,
right?
Managing who's going to come first. That is a strategy. That's a strategic rollout plan that nobody. Right. I mean, they're doing it now, but that was the blueprint.
Not to mention, you had to organize those songs because everybody can't fit on a song, So
right,
somebody's going to get left out somewhere, and I think, they may have a couple songs where that like everybody. I'm trying to think. I can't think of any song where everybody was on it.
You God was always getting left out.
Well, you God was locked up too, so he missed out on something.
Yeah.
And Capadonna also. Capadonna didn't come in, I think, until he got out. So, that in
That's
itself,
true.
I'm trying to think. I can't think of any songs where all of them got to, even Cream. Which one of the best song? Oh, Triumph. Triumph was the song that everybody got some shine in. Now,
yeah, Triumph. Yeah,
and as if you include Old Dirty Bastard's intro, or his, because he really didn't,
Triumph. Triumph was. Let me tell you about Triumph. Triumph was so significant because, do you know that Triumph mirrored? Remember the Jackson 5? Remember the Jacksons?
Yeah.
Triumph. Remember their album, their song Triumph?
Yeah.
And it was like how all of them were kind of larger than life, introduced to the world.
Right.
That's how Wu-Tang rolled out Triumph.
Okay.
I thought that whole marketing, how they did that was brilliant.
So, all right, speaking of Triumph, the video, first of all, the video was great. They put some money into that. Did you know why Old Dirty Bastard is really not shown in there? That's not him in that video.
I heard a story.
His crazy ass wanted a lot of money just for him to show up.
$10,000.
I think it was 30,
right.
Something along those lines.
He wanted $10,000. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, but again, still to manage his, those personnel, and they were cousins. They were cousins.
I know. Old Dirty wanted his bread.
Oh, definitely had personality, but yeah, that was That's definitely something. Managing that many personalities, that great of a repertoire,
Yes.
without the record conflict. They all blend.
Right.
Nobody's saying, "Oh,
Right.
that person don't go well with this group," or that person don't that verse don't go well. They had the formula, and it worked. So
And everybody was patient.
yes,
Everybody was patient because could you imagine that waiting patiently for your uh uh individual project to come out and buying into the group philosophy. Okay, RZA, this RZA's playing. This how we gonna do
right.
this, and that.
I think they, you know, what the thing was with them. I think they all trusted him. When I heard a few
Right.
things that they had some conflicts, but when he came in and he talked his talk, whatever, he was like Raekwon, as a matter of fact, said, I was mad at him for this and that, whatever. But he has a way with words, and you just can't be mad at him after you walk away saying that you should have been mad, you should have did this and whatever. But he's like a cult leader. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
let's talk about I'm gonna throw this in there, the tragedy of the Wu-Tang Clan. All right, who I think is the best MC out of the entire group? The best MC. Now they all good. They all great. Some of them, I'm not gonna say they're all great, but there's
Right.
some great ones in there. There's some good
Right.
ones. But Inspector Deck, okay, I think is the best.
Okay.
One of the best lyricists in his flow. I mean, it's just so underrated. So underrated. Then his album comes out, and the tragedy of that was what
Right.
it
Yeah.
was the flood that happened in RZA's basement and ruined his entire album. So he had to redo the album, and everything was
Yeah.
different because, maybe technology didn't have where they could store it in the cloud and all other type stuff, and that's just so tragic.
Yeah.
But when I bought his album, it was underwhelming. He still had lyrics, but I think the production was a little bit underwhelming, and you
Production.
know,
Yeah.
but let him freestyle. Let him get a cameo on somebody else's cut. He's killing it.
Right.
Matter of
And
fact,
I agree with you. I agree with you that he was. I think he probably was the best lyrical MC. Now I would say the best overall project
Mhm.
had to be Raekwon's
Raekwon,
project
right?
because if you added the lyrics and the overall production,
Yes,
that was
yeah,
tough to beat.
yeah. And like I said, they all had some decent ones. All right, we'll say Raekwon. What's it called? Only built for Cuban links. Was that the first one?
Oh, Bill for Cuban Links,
Right.
yes. Yes.
That Takal, the first Method Man album, Takal was great. The first, actually, the first
Ghostface.
two
Ghostface.
Ghostface was pretty good. Most people say they were both classics. The other ones, GZA. Oh, let us not forget GZA. GZA is probably one of the.
Oh yeah, Liquid Swords.
Oh my
Liquid
goodness,
Swords. Yes.
lyrically one of the. But I don't think the difference between GZA and Inspector Deck. GZA has those lyrics. The Deck has those lyrics, but he can't deliver like Inspector Deck. That's just that's my personal opinion that he just
The
can't
Deck,
deliver
right,
like him.
right.
Obviously ODB had a blowout album, but
Yeah.
I don't know about
Yeah.
his second. Did he get around to the second one? Was it like Return?
I don't think. I think he did, and then that's when stuff started going
Yeah, he had issues around that
crazy.
time too. So yeah, but definitely, Inspector Deck, man. If he would have had the productions like the rest of them, I think we'd be having a whole different conversation. Like, if I was a rapper,
Right.
matter of fact, Tupac had a song, and Inspector Deck was on it. He told, I think he told Daz, or one of the guys from out west that was producing it. He's like, nah, take him off, take him off. So only thing they left in his background vocals, because Tupac didn't want him on there because
Yeah.
he didn't want to be out,
Yeah.
outshined by him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's yeah. I just think that the dude is just phenomenal, and when you look at the Wu-Tang classics, Cream, that verse killed it. Triumph, he probably got the best kickoff verse of all time. Like any song that he's on, he kicks it off. Like
He kicks it
the
off.
first to set off is the Inspector Deck. What was that?
He's the lead off batter. He's the
Exactly.
lead off batter in Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
But can we mention this?
Mhm.
Nobody seemed to mention this. And I love hip hop, and I know Winston yesterday was talking about how, Run-D.M.C. and cultural relevance and how they did this and did that.
Mhm.
Can we talk more about how Wu-Tang was so ahead of their time, how they marketed their albums? What about the $1 album? if I,
Well,
no. Was it not the $1, but it was the single copy album that the hedge fund guy brought.
oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk about that specifically. That's one of my points on
Oh
there
my
when it comes to
goodness.
artistry. But all right, getting into that, how their impact. All right. Point number 9. Wu-Tang Clan was the first hip hop group to build a true empire. Group, not a collective.
Yes.
Group. Now, here you go. Before the Wu-Tang Clan, rappers sold records. They did, or promoted stuff from FUBU to Adidas to whatever. However, Wu-Tang Clan, clothing line, Wu Wear, video games,
Wu-Wear.
exactly, movies, television, merchandise,
Yes.
corporate branding. To this day, people throwing up
Yes.
a Wu-Tang sign. They probably never even heard of a Wu-Tang Clan song or album or whatever, but they know to throw up those two hands. They know that symbol that's in every store, right?
Exactly. And internationally,
Yes, they reinvented the blueprint. Basically, that's it.
Wu-Tang.
Now,
Yeah, yeah.
Winston mentioned the 5 elements of hip hop, right? He said DJing, MCing,
Break
graffiti art,
dancing,
all right,
graffiti art, yeah.
and a street entrepreneurship, right? So
Yeah.
obviously the breakdancing, you're not gonna keep up with that. That's sign of the times. The DJing, that's another thing that kind of the times kind of phased out somewhat, because you don't really need a DJ. You just got to have a great producer that can get in there, and sometimes the DJ is a producer, so that matches up.
Right.
But as far as the entrepreneurship, come on, who? I still got Wu cologne.
Exactly.
Wu, and somebody got me for it. Got me for my my Method Man T-shirt with the upside down. And that's another thing too. Like each one of them had that same symbol in a different thing to market. Every one of them. Jizza had the G.
I went to the city. I went to the city last month. Now I'm in the Philippines now.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen 2 people with Wu-Wear T-shirts on.
Really?
Yes.
I will, if I see somebody on the street and I'm saying, hey, where'd you get that? And I'm talking about the classic. I want the black T-shirt with the gold Wu-Tang symbol.
With the gold, I stopped them because you don't see that. You don't see that too much. Well, what I'm saying is that it lets you see that the cultural relevance of Wu-Tang is not just relegated to the United States and Japan and these Asian countries. Because once again, what did they do? They emphasize Asian culture, kung fu, Shaolin Temple. They made it relevant.
Right. They sure did. Brought the 70s back into the 90s. They brought the 80s back into the 90s and carried it on. So, but now since you mentioned the T-shirts in the Philippines, check this out. Point number 10. Wu-Tang Clan is the greatest example of black entrepreneurship in hip hop. Here's why. And you mentioned it at the last episode. RZA's deal allowed members to sign solo contracts elsewhere while remaining part of the group. At the time, that was revolutionary. That was genius. I heard him
Yes.
describe how that worked out, and they got a point system. So imagine the Wu-Tang albums blowing up. Everybody's getting paid off of that. Solo albums, they blowing up. The members still get paid off of that.
Right.
And just think about this. This is one thing I didn't mention too. When you talk about groups, if you took all the individual albums, forget the solo albums, that's done, right? If you took all the individual albums that they did and took the what do you call it, the ones where they worked on together, put it up. I lost the word for that one.
Okay.
That's another 2 albums. That's another 2 or 3 bomb ass albums. Tony Starks and Raekwon, how many songs did they do together? Any of those songs where they partnered up, where they did a cameo, they could be put back on another Wu-Tang Clan album. And now they got 3 or 4 more. Genius. Like, I don't know where he gets that from, where he got it from, and you got to remember that was a time where record companies was really raping the artists. They weren't getting everything that they can get, and it was harder.
Yeah.
But
RZA was a visionary.
Oh yeah,
because I know the last episode we were trying to categorize whether RZA was a DJ producer. No, he was all of those things.
Exactly.
That's why I say he was a visionary.
Yeah.
You can't quantify RZA and put him in. He was an MC. He was a producer. He was the so-called CEO, businessman,
DJ,
marketer. He was a visionary.
Yeah. Writer. So he was everything.
Writer.
So now it could be said that the Wu-Tang Clan was actually teaching ownership and business strategy, while a lot of them other rappers were chasing advances in jewelry, right? They was trying to get that advance, blow the advance, and we heard the horror stories. We heard,
I learned about marketing strategy, setting up your business, leveraging. I didn't learn that from business books. I learned that from Wu-Tang because I studied the marketing plan. I studied their marketing strategy, and what I did, I took the way I set up everything that I'm doing now is directly. I set it up directly from what I learned from how RZA set up things for the Wu-Tang.
Okay. Yeah, going back to that, that's another thing too that was kind of genius. One of the albums, might have been more than one, but I know one was a CD that you can actually put in your computer and access a whole online, studio and different things. It was like almost
Studio.
Yeah. So that was definitely different at the time. Definitely innovators, visionaries, and
That was
innovators.
it. Well, that's what, and hence his name, Bobby Digital.
Yeah. All right, point number 11. There is no hip hop group with better solo albums. Name one.
No hip hop group with better solo albums.
No hip hop group with better solo albums.
I think you got us on this one because I did the dig up last night, and you were right. Wu-Tang is they ain't no group. I was up for like an hour trying to figure this out. There's no group with more rap artists that did solo albums that was successful. Like, it's not.
Right.
I literally digged it up. So to answer your question, there ain't none.
Who comes close?
as far as like the stars,
Yeah.
as far as not stars, but like making like
That
individual artists getting their own individual album.
yes, but successful album.
Oh, now
I
you
can't
you
name
adding
one.
that.
The only
You
one
adding that
the
too.
only one that comes close is NWA.
That's what I was going to say, but
Yeah.
they don't have that many like Wu-Tang did.
So well, not as many as, but that's why I said they come close. But if you look at
They got Cube. They
Cube,
got
and
Cube.
how many did he have? He has a
Yeah.
plethora of solo albums.
He has all of them.
Yeah,
Really?
Right,
right.
but if you think about it, it's only three. It's only three of them though.
Well, no.
So
Yeah. Okay.
You got Cube. You had Easy E. Easy E had I think
Easy.
two. Then you had Dr. Dre with.
yeah, two.
He may have had
Okay.
maybe two or
He
three.
had a couple.
Well,
Yeah. So
well, the firm was a flop. The firm was a flop. So we just gonna-
but yeah. So
but no,
Yeah.
the chronic, and
well, this
He had
and
the
the chronic
Chronic,
2001.
Still
Yeah.
Dre,
Yeah.
Still Dre,
just we can
Dre
count the
2000.
Chronic. Ren had a solo album. I don't know where it went because I heard like one song off of there and it was whatever.
I know where it went though. I know where it went.
It went
In
lead.
the garbage can. In the garbage can. Because I like Rand. And I had high hopes for Rand.
Mm-hmm.
But I see, I'm one of them guys that I was in a record store every week.
Mm-hmm.
I was buying CDs. I was buying records. I got Ren's album, and I threw it in the trash.
Wait a minute. So I never thought. So Ren is a good writer. He helped write some of the songs of NWA, mostly Ice Cube, obviously, and actually DOC back then. But Ren, I always looked at him as a backup, a fill-in. Like I don't think.
No, he was one of the best rappers on there. He was like it was him and Ice Cube.
What you smoking?
Uh,
What you smoking?
No, MC Ran was like he was good. Make it back what Paul said. His album was trash though, but he was one of the best MCs on there. Like as far as the NWA
Right,
group.
so let me give you an
That's what I'm
example. On that album, Ren has a solo record on that album. You remember what it was?
A solo record.
Yeah, on the NWA album.
The villain, something.
It was,
the villain or something. Villain or something.
Yeah.
The Villain.
Something villain.
Can you give me a line?
Yeah,
I'm
album-
gonna share something with y'all. Ren didn't even write that. DOC did.
I thought Rand wrote his rhymes.
He wrote.
I know
Ren
Ice Cube wrote for
wrote-
everybody.
But when Cube left, remember Cube left.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't have a writer. Ren was a writer, but it wasn't strong. DOC comes in. DOC starts writing 100 miles and running, all stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He started writing stuff like that. Which
okay.
if DOC didn't have that throat injury, DOC would have been
Absolutely.
super big.
Absolutely. But on that album, NW Straight Outta Compton, he had the number 4 cut was called "If It Ain't Rough," right? That was
If It Ain't
MC
Rough,
Ren's, right?
yeah.
Nobody remembers that. Nobody's that. You can say what Ice Cube was on there. He had when hit a bitch is a bitch, or gangster gangster, and what's that other one? I ain't the one, right? So you
I
knew
ain't the
that.
one.
yeah.
That was the cut right there.
Yeah. And Dope Man pretty much. So he didn't have maybe Quiet on the Set. Nobody remembers that. So yeah, he was just a backup. He wasn't anything significant. That's just my opinion on that. But now number 12. Wu-Tang Clan created the most recognizable brand in hip-hop history. And Paul kind of confirmed that a couple minutes ago. So that is the most recognizable brand in hip-hop history. None comes close. Not None of the
I
rappers
can
of the
get
day.
y'all if y'all want. I can get y'all Wu-Tang shirts on the low. I can get y'all Wu-Tang shirts on the low.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this real quick, Joe. So you're right. Wu-Tang Clan is just like the biggest, like, as far as their wear. Nobody did it like them. Do you consider Bad Boys though as a group, or is that just
No,
a record label?
No,
that's a record label.
no.
That's the record label,
Bad Boy
Yes.
right?
was a Bad Boy was a record label. Once again, a collective. A
Right.
collective is not a group.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. Because if you consider that as a group, or if they were a group, you know,
Not even
you
close.
had that too.
Ain't
But
nobody wearing a t-shirt with the Bad Boy symbol on it except for somebody who was on Bad Boy. Nobody.
oh, no, no, no. I'm not talking about the gear. I'm talking about, like, far as stars, like with their own
Oh,
solo
okay, okay.
solo album.
Because
I was just,
because
yeah.
if you include Bad Boy, which you can't because it's not a group, then you have to include So Def, which is not a group,
Right. And No
Right.
Limit and Cash Money as
and
well.
No Limit.
But here's my
Right.
supporting statement. More than 3 decades after debuting, Wu-Tang merchandise remains widely recognized and commercially viable. Like I said, I'm gonna get one whenever I come across their stuff too. Their brand has expanded into television, gaming, fashion, documentaries, and licensing opportunities. So you can ask anyone that don't listen to rap, can they recognize the Wu-Tang logo, or even the members or the names, or even the phrase Wu-Tang Forever? I had people saying that and know they never seen a Wu-Tang anything. But then you got to ask yourself too
The
when you
Wu Tang
compare.
symbol,
Hmm?
the Wu Tang symbol to black people is similar to the Batman symbol in the sky
Right.
over Gotham.
That's a good. That's a good. That's a good statement.
Now,
Well statement.
do you know the now when we talk about branding or whatever, so some groups came up. Everybody knows the Wu-Tang logo. Do you know the NWA logo?
Yeah.
What is it?
NWA.
Because I don't know. Because I don't think they have a
I mean, they don't
close they
have a
come
Wu
is
Tang
when people
logo,
saying straight out of whatever that came from them. But other than that,
right? Well, they didn't have that. They didn't have a logo, like a logo. They just had NWA.
right,
That was it. Wu Tang had an actual logo
right.
with their brand. Like, they didn't have that. The NWA didn't have that.
Okay, so we're gonna say that's a no hitter for them.
Right. That's an advantage. That's definitely an advantage for Wu Tang because honestly, now that you think about it, what group had a logo?
Public Enemy had a logo. Um,
Oh,
um, who else had a logo? That's a good point.
I don't. I guess public because I don't remember.
Also, also on branding and marketing, Wu Tang has one of the most quotable phrases in hip hop history. Wu Tang is for the children.
Right. ODB.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely ODB thing.
They ate that, but think about this. They marketing execs ate that up. Wu Tang is for the children. It was a commercially and marketable phrase that they used to appeal to the other ethnicities, if you know what I mean.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
But Paul, you brought up a great point. Yet last night, I meant to say when you was talking about
I'm on a podcast.
how they didn't just change the
Yeah,
culture,
part
they
two.
also brought out other culture. That's how
I sent you
the
I
impact they
sent you a
had as
link.
far as the Shaolin, that
Okay.
whole Shaolin thing.
Well,
They
you need to check your
actually
phone before you
brought it
call
out
in me.
even more with the impact of their music
Anyway, I'm on a
and what they
podcast.
had
I'll
going
holler at you a little
on.
bit. Or you can
To
jump
the
on.
point where it
'Cause
was
I'm on
like,
part 3.
nobody was thinking about Shaolin
Okay.
and
Well, I'll leave the door open.
unless martial arts
Yeah.
fans and all that stuff. But they kind of
Okay.
like
Later.
put that out there where people that weren't interested, they seen it and they got into it too. Also, that's a
Right.
big impact.
Right.
Also, you got to understand, like, when you that global and you changing, you bringing out other cultures, and like what your impact on it. That's big. Like people don't
I
look at
bet.
that.
I bet when Wu Tang came out, I bet viewership to Chinese theater went through
Mm.
the roof.
Oh,
I can only imagine.
so let me tell you, when they came out, there was a huge resurgence of video people, the Blockbuster and all the other ones. They had the video tapes of all the old kung fu flicks, and they actually
Mm.
kind of matched the names to some of the things that the Wu-Tang Clan had, the monikers or whatever, right? And I had them. I must have had like 20, 30 of the VHS tapes, and they did change some of the names. I had the Old Dirty Bastard. That was a kung fu flick. I had the I forgot the one that they had, but one of them was Ghostface Killer. Obviously, he's a character in there, but they had all those songs. I mean, all those videos that was sampled by Wu-Tang. Some of them was my favorites, like the Master Killer, 36 Chambers of Shaolin, you know,
Mm.
Wu-Tang versus the Shaolin, all of those, even, what's it called? Shogun, what was it called? Shogun Assassin? No.
Shogun, yeah.
It was one of them that they sampled. But anyway, those were some great ones, and it obviously sold because I remember I was in the mall, and I used to work in the mall, but I used to always go to this one movie store that sold, the videotapes down there, and they knew I was coming. They had a whole section of them, and I was buying them as soon as they came out, So yeah, that was a good point. But anyway, I'm gonna thank the guests for joining us. But stay tuned for part 3 of the greatest hip hop group of all time, and it ain't even close. But part 3 is coming soon, so you guys, hopefully you'll stay with us for part 3. If not, catch us online.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Unfiltered with Psycho 4081. Big respect to our guests for keeping it real, and love to every listener rocking with us week after week. This conversation ain't over yet. Stay locked in for the next episode coming soon. Until next time, keep it unfiltered with Psycho 4081.